Welcome to Traipsing Global on Wheels. Today we're going to talk about what to put in your wheelchair repair kit when you're studying abroad. So there are a lot of things that are beyond our control when we're studying abroad. For instance, I remember one time I was volunteering in a rural area of China. When I landed at the nearest airport, the back of my wheelchair was all warped and crooked, and one of the bars had been bent. Obviously, that was something that I couldn't repair at the time. That's a huge malfunction that requires more tools. However, most of the wheelchair malfunctions that you're going to encounter are not going to be that serious, and these are very common issues, at least that I've encountered. So I shared with you in my previous video that one day I was coming home from classes studying abroad in Nanjing, China, and one of my caster wheels, so the little wheels in front of my wheelchair, fell off, and it was rolling down the road. So apparently the screws had came loose, and then the caster wheel eventually just came out. And so I was very traumatized by that experience, emotionally distressed, Skyping my parents, panicking, not knowing what to do. However, in retrospect, having studied abroad in so many places, I've realized that actually that wasn't a complicated wheelchair repair had I had all the tools with me. So today I'm going to share with you on what to put in your wheelchair repair toolkit and what useful wheelchair parts to bring with you, so additional parts. It's always good to have a spare. The tools and or repair materials that you should bring with you when you're traveling abroad. The first thing is a bike pump. You can get away with it. How do I know? Because I've done it. I actually do not have an electric bike pump. And by bike pump, by the way, just to be specific, I mean an electric one. I think wheelchair users, at least for myself, it's very hard for me to use one of those manual bike pumps. So one time, just to give you an example of why I feel strongly about this, one day I was coming to the metro after finishing work, and in the middle of the sidewalk, one of my wheels decides to just deflate very quickly. So I panicked, of course, and I didn't know if there was a bike shop near me, and unfortunately I had to wheel quite a ways to find one. So to avoid those kind of situations, I think having a portable electric bike pump with you is a very good idea. So the other great thing to bring are patch kits. They have lots of different kinds of travel size patch kits. You can put one in your pocket, put one under your seat cushion, put one in your repair kit. So these really come in handy when your tires get punctured. So I remember one time I was at the airport. As soon as I arrived at the airport, one of my wheels started making this sound. I'm sure you all know what that sound is. So within 3 minutes of arriving at the airport, my wheelchair tires got punctured. And so I was in a panic. I didn't know what to do. I did not have this repair kit with me. So that's why in situations like that, these kind of things are very useful, and you never know when your tires are going to get punctured. A great thing to bring are tire levers. So they look like this. I have 2 of them. I think you can do with just one, and these are for repairing, changing inner tubes when your tires get punctured. And then another thing that I use frequently are these little screwdrivers, especially for the caster wheels when they when the screws come loose to tighten them, or even my caster wheels often accumulate a lot of hair with this long hair. I often get hair everywhere. So to take the screws out and take the hair out and then put it all back in, assemble it all back together. So these would come in handy. Get all of that hair out. This handy dandy plier will be immensely helpful in assembling your caster wheel back together. Sometimes when you're putting spacers in, you'll need to wedge this plier in between the caster wheel and the area where you need to put the screw, and just wedge it in there and give yourself more space to push that spacer in there. Do that. And then another thing that's really good to bring, especially I remember I encountered this when I was living in London and New York City. So for some reason the wheelchair that I had, the spokes came loose all the time. So it was good that I had these spoke tighteners. I don't know what their official name is, but that's what I'm calling them. So these are really handy, and I think they're relatively inexpensive too. You should be able to get them in any bike shop. I'm going to share with you on useful wheelchair parts to bring with you. So these are additional wheelchair parts. So one of them, which I've been talking about both in the previous video and this video, are caster wheels. Remember when I said when I was studying in Nanjing, they rolled away on a major road? Well, when you lose them, it's good to have a repair. And then another thing that also goes with the caster wheels are the bolts. These little bolts, make sure you have lots of them with you. Have at least four to six with you. Washers that go with the caster wheels as well. And then also spacers. I actually need to purchase more spacers. These are very useful and very crucial for the caster wheels. And then another thing are these bearings, the wear and tear on these are relatively quick as well, depending on the quality. So these bearings go right here. So when these are worn off, then you put these new ones on. And then the other thing are these inner tubes, as I was talking to you earlier about. Inner tubes look like this. They come in boxes of this size. So when you have all these with you abroad, you'll be very much comforted. When these common malfunctions happen, you'll be like, oh, that's why I brought all the tools with me to repair that. Last thing I'll add is that you might be questioned when you go through security at the airport. TSA is pretty strict these days, so you'll need to be patient, and you'll need to explain why you need these tools, these additional wheelchair parts, and why you're bringing it on this trip. But most of the times, actually all of the times, they have let me go through with these tools and wheelchair parts. So I don't think you should have a problem. However, it's always good to be cautious and just take what you need. So if it's a short trip, maybe you don't need to take as much as you need. You are the one that understands your wheelchair the most and what kind of malfunctions are prone to your wheelchair. So bring what is appropriate for that duration of your trip and for the kinds of malfunctions your specific wheelchair has. Anyways, it's been really fun sharing with you about what I bring with me during my travels and what has helped me. So if you have any questions, please comment in the comment box below. And thank you so much for watching today.